Sad news to share with you today. Comedian and TV legend Johnny Carson dies at the age of 79 from emphysema. He had apparently been suffering from that for a while now. His nephew tells us that he died in his home with his family by his side. So again, TV legend Johnny Carson has died at the age of 79. He will be remembered for just being a legendary entertainer. And in fact, with more on his life, let's go to Bill McCuddy, who has an obit.
He was how America said goodnight. For 30 years, Johnny Carson dominated the air with big stars and big ratings.
I figured if I was going to present myself as a virgin to anyone, it should be you.
John William Carson was born on October 23, 1925 in Corning, Iowa, but he was raised in Nebraska. He began his career at age 14 with a magic act called the Great Carsoni. It was while he attended the University of Nebraska that Johnny started in radio. That paved the way to television, working with such greats as Red Skelton and Jack Parr.
Hi there. This is your host, Johnny Colorless, neutral, neat, not too bright, a real loser, Carson.
On October 1st, 1962, Carson would succeed Parr on The Tonight Show. Ed McMahon was there from the very beginning, and the laughs continued for decades.
How does the duck go?
Ask him the duck again.
The duck. Quack, quack, duck. How does the wolf go? Karnak is attempting to divine an answer while you're sitting here, giggling. May I have silence, please?
Yes. You've had it many times before.
And then there were the classic moments.
Out in town, through the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come to town, through the tulips, with me.
In 1972, the show moved from New York to Burbank. Everyone who was anyone appeared with Johnny, catapulting many people to stardom.
Top 10 things I am grateful to Johnny Carson for. Number 2, helped me get my talk show license.
Over the years, Johnny hosted over 22,000 guests, from celebrities to animals to everyday people.
Now, these are all the individuals.
These are some of the faces that I first started to see.
Uh-huh.
This,
we're going to get a camera over here. So I don't really want to handle this because they could break, couldn't they? Now, that would be it's a dog. It's a dog.
An angry dog or an angry bear?
Kind of like a beagle.
All right.
Okay.
Look at this one, Johnny.
No. No, I didn't.
Carson was the Hollywood star with Middle America magic.
Okay, I'll show you how to make a coin disappear. All right? All right, and we got, you see this? That's a quarter, right?
Yes.
Now, if I take it and hold it, and I give it to you, would you hold it for me?
Yes.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Now, watch very carefully. Okay, here it is. And you hold it.
You make it really disappear.
What? How do I make it you get married?
Johnny's private troubles often became public, like his bouts with booze and his 4 marriages. At times, The Tonight Show accounted for 17% of NBC's total revenues. But even when the ratings plunged and it looked like Jay Leno would replace him, Carson stayed loyal to his network.
I don't think that NBC owes me anything or I owe NBC anything. It's just a business arrangement.
But despite his popularity, Carson called it quits while he was on top.
I can't believe it. The last guest, the last fool, Mr. Carson, will have to suffer gladly. You are the wind beneath my wings.
May 21st, 1992, his last show with guests, Robin Williams and Bette Midler.
Sorry.
And then the next night, his final show, a poignant tribute of clips and behind-the-scenes peeks. A classy way to say goodbye.
You people watching, I can only tell you that it has been an honor and a privilege to come into your homes all these years and entertain you. And I hope when I find something that I want to do and I think you will like and come back, that you'll be as gracious in inviting me into your home as you have been. I bid you a very heartfelt good night.
After that, Carson pretty much stayed out of the public eye, occasionally being spotted at tennis matches.
Anybody would be delighted to have him before breakfast, after breakfast, up against Oprah, late night. If you want the Johnny Carson channel on cable, he could do that.
But in March of '99, Johnny's health forced him back into the spotlight. A quadruple bypass surgery, the prognosis, a complete recovery.
I don't think there was a dry eye in America that night when Bette Midler sang that song. And Johnny Carson was so very funny to the very end. He said, I'm going to take that applause sign and take it home and put it in my bedroom. He also said something else that I thought was wonderful. And let me just quote here. And so it has come to this, I am one of the lucky people in the world. I've found something I always wanted to do, and I've enjoyed every single minute.
And it's so obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so funny, such a natural. And you could see as he was just doing the jokes, he was trying them out and kind of easy with it, and you know, whatever happens, happens. But just a genuine, just great person, you could just see. And even though they say that he was a recluse, you know, when he wasn't on air, it's incredible how he was when he was in front of people. And they say he had about 22,000 people a night. Just absolutely incredible.
The show started, obviously, with Steve Martin, Jack Parr. Then he took it over in 1962 in New York. It went out to Southern California, Burbank, Los Angeles area, and that's where we find our own Adam Housley, who is standing by with more on the life of the great entertainer, Johnny Carson, who has died at the age of 79. Adam?
Greg, that quote you just read came from his final show back in May of 1992, and after that show, really, he became reclusive. In fact, as Jerry Lewis said, one of his longtime friends and a man who actually filled in as host for Johnny Carson back in 1980 during a contract dispute. As Jerry Lewis said on our show earlier this hour, he says that Johnny Carson enjoyed being reclusive because he relaxed. The strain and stress was gone from his face, and that's probably one of the reasons why we really haven't seen him since 1992. There's only been a couple of interviews. In fact, in 1993, in a Washington Post article, he says, I have an ego like anybody else, but I don't need to be stoked by going before the public all the time. And in 2002, he told Esquire magazine, the reason I really don't go back or do interviews is I just let the work speak for itself. And his work, of course, really does speak for itself. His CDs and DVDs are still very well they still sell very well, I should say, in stores throughout the country. We do know that he passed away this morning here in Los Angeles. He was 79 years old. Of course, he'd been living since his retirement in Malibu with his wife Alexis. He'd done some traveling, done some tennis, spent some time with Barry Diller and NBC executive Bob Wright. This morning, his nephew told the Associated Press that Mr. Carson passed away peacefully early Sunday morning. He was surrounded by his family, whose loss will be immeasurable. There will be no memorial service. Again, that coming from his nephew this morning. There have been a lot of quiet comments coming out of Hollywood thus far, being a Sunday morning out here and still being somewhat early, but you can bet there will be reaction throughout the day and tomorrow. We, of course, are working on that reaction for you, including some of the most famous people that were on his show, everybody from Doc Severinsen, of course, to Ed McMahon. Guys?
Housley, thanks very much.
All right, and we want to talk to now another TV comedian legend, Phyllis Diller, who is on the phone with us. And Ms. Diller, just tell us, what is your reaction to this? What are your reflections?
Well, my first reaction, of course, was to cry, because he was such a darling guy, and I don't think his work will ever be touched for quality the way he did the Tonight Show. I mean,